Hello students, welcome to Food and Textile Studies for Grade 8. Today we will have a look at Unit 2, which is about food technology. The learning objectives will be to define the terms used in food spoilage, food contamination, and food poisoning. State the main causes of food spoilage. Identify common symptoms of food poisoning. List the rules to follow to ensure that food is clean and safe to eat. Now let's look at the introduction of the topic. Keeping food safe involves the use of hygienic practices in the handling, preparation, and storage of food. Such practices will help to avoid, first, food spoilage and food contamination, as well as food poisoning. Let's look at the definition of food spoilage. Food spoilage can be defined as an unwanted change in the edible quality of the food. There may be a change in smell, color, size, texture, and taste of the food. When a food is spoiled, it becomes unfit for consumption. Food spoilage is caused by two main factors. The first one is natural decay. The second, by microorganisms. What is natural decay? Natural decay is caused by the enzymes present in foods. Enzymes are special proteins that speed up the chemical reaction in the foods. Enzymes caused ripening, for example. Unripe bananas gradually turn from green to yellow, then to dark brown. What about microorganisms? When these microorganisms settle on food, they release waste product, which damage the edible quality of the food. Some of the waste products are toxic. So microorganisms are tiny living cells that cannot be seen with the human eye. They are found in the air, soil, water, sewage, and also on our skin. They need a food to grow and reproduce. Main microorganisms responsible for food spoilage are bacteria, molds, and yeasts. Bacteria, mold, and yeast. Now you will have a better picture of the different microorganisms. How can we store food to protect from spoilage? Food should be stored properly to prevent food spoilage and food wastage. Different kinds of food need to be stored in different ways. For example, dry foods such as sugar, rice, tea, and salt should be stored in airtight containers on open shelves or in a kitchen cabinet. Fresh meat, fish, and poultry should be stored in the refrigerator or in the freezer compartment. If stored in the refrigerator, such foods will stay for 1 day or 2 days. If stored in the freezer, the storage period will be longer, possibly more than a month. Fruits and vegetables should be stored in the vegetable drawer or crisper compartment of the refrigerator. Some vegetables such as onions, garlic, and potatoes are best stored in open baskets in a cool, dry place. What is food contamination? Food contamination refers to the presence of harmful microorganisms such as bacteria, molds, and yeast. It also refers to the presence of harmful chemicals as well as foreign objects. Food contamination occurs by microorganisms, that is, when flies settle on food, they leave behind dirt and microorganisms. During handling of food, people are not careful about food and kitchen hygiene as well as their personal hygiene. When household pests like rats, cockroaches, and lizards roam around the different parts of the house and especially in the kitchen. Harmful chemicals such as cleaning detergents, nail polish, insect repellents, insecticides, and herbicides may get into food. Foreign objects such as dirt, small pebbles, metal, hair, plastic, broken glass, and bones. These are some examples of food contaminations from microorganisms and harmful chemicals. Now let's look at the definition of food poisoning. Microorganisms do not only cause food spoilage but also cause food poisoning. Food poisoning occurs when you eat food or drink water that has been contaminated with harmful chemical substances and microorganisms. Common symptoms of food poisoning are abdominal pain, diarrhea, fever, nausea or vomiting, and malaise. Causes of food poisoning: eating high-risk food, for example, meat, poultry, fish, dairy products, and all cooked leftovers. Insufficient cooking or reheating of food. Improper storage of leftovers. Poor personal hygiene. Using unclean water to prepare drinks. And using dirty utensils. What should we do to adopt safe practices to avoid food contamination? While buying and preparation, do not buy food past sell-by, use-by, or other expiry dates. Never buy dented canned foods. Never choose meat or poultry in packaging that is torn or leaking. Buy from clean sources. Wash hands before and after handling of food. Safe way to thaw food is to keep it covered on the lowest shelf of the refrigerator. Cutting boards, utensils, and countertops should be cleaned regularly with soapy water. Use separate utensils and cutting boards for raw meat, poultry, and fish and another one for fruits and vegetables. Keep marinated meat, fish, and poultry in a covered dish in the refrigerator. Adopting safe practices to avoid food contamination during cooking. Cook food thoroughly. Keep raw meat, poultry, fish, and their juices away from other foods. Frozen meat, fish, and poultry should be thawed in the refrigerator and should not be left to be thawed on the table counter. Prepare all foods as close to serving time as possible. Refrigerate or freeze all leftovers within 2 hours after cooking. Adopting safe practices to avoid food contamination during serving or consuming. Keep hot foods at 60 degrees Celsius or above and cold food at 4 degrees Celsius or below. Cover any food left on the table. Do not reheat food that is contaminated. Chill leftovers as soon as you finish eating. If you are not sure whether a food is safe, throw it away. In today's video, you have learned about food spoilage, food contamination, that is, causes of food contamination and how to avoid it, food poisoning, causes of food poisoning and how to avoid it. I hope that you have enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.